What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Tide Talk. It's Sunday, September 7th, and we're back to talk RIFC's 1-0 home USL Championship loss to Eastern Conference League leaders Louisville City. Just a reminder, each episode is available on YouTube, and if you're watching now, please take a second to subscribe to our channel and click that like button on this video. You can also find us on your favorite podcast applications like Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and if you listen on one of those, we'd really appreciate it if you took a minute to leave us a 5-star rating and a short review, as it helps more people find Tide Talk. One last plug, if you're not already, go check out RIFC Club Collector app and enter the code TideTalk25, all lowercase, all one word, to get an exclusive pack added to your collection today. So cozy up, crack a bear. Let's dive into this one. How's your Sunday been, Ryan?
It's been good. I would say it was nice to have football back in my life, but the Pats look pretty ugly today. So yeah, nice rainy, relaxing Sunday to kind of kick off those fall vibes. But how about you?
I hate the NFL. I'm not a fan. And I saw a tweet today or a Facebook post that was basically like abolish the September international break. And I'm all for it. I want club soccer going on right now. None of this international stuff. You know what I mean?
It's really, it's just tough because you get all excited about the season starting, and then it's like 3 weeks in, they're like international break, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
come on. Like,
it's definitely a false start. It just doesn't work well. But we're going to talk about last night's rainy 1-0 loss. But we were able to secure some silverware last night from our friend Handsome John at the 24-hour Purple People. We are 24-hour Purple People approved. They tweeted out we're the first USL podcast to get this honor. This is hand painted by Handsome John. What a guy! Brought some bourbon. Really good dude. I know he really much enjoyed the chanting going on back and forth between La Banda, Defiant 1636, and then his crew of Louisville hooligans before the game, under the overhang, at the overhang party. Just a really fun atmosphere as the weather changed pretty quickly.
Yeah, 24-hour Purple People approved. You'll never sing that, is what I say. But no, the overhang party, I was talking to Handsome John while that was going on. And just for those of you who didn't get to see it, there is a video on our Twitter of us. I recorded it live, but it basically was like La Banda and Defiance would kind of chant our chants. And then the couple people from Louisville would chant theirs. And it was how we really got through the rain delay. It was a ton of fun. But I said to Handsome John, I was like, this is what the USL is all about. It's about these connections. It's about like fans coming together and just like enjoying the sport. And to me, that was like the real kind of pinnacle of that. It's just sharing beers, sharing bourbon, having a fun time. And, I think we're all a little annoyed that we couldn't get to the stadium and get the game going. And obviously the weather sucked, but we made the most of it. It was an absolute time of our life out there.
For sure. He told me after the game that it was one of his favorite memories in traveling support. So a really cool vibe, really cool experience. Cool that some other teams have cool supporters and you can do that with.
I was telling him too. I was like, the thing about Louisville is I think they'll always have a soft spot to us RIFC folks. We
were their bogey club last year.
We're the bogey club, but off the pitch, last year they brought us a really cool gift when they came to Rhode Island. When we went out there for the playoffs, they actually were the ones who like got the drums into the stadium. They asked the club to get them in, which was really, really cool of them, even though John kept saying like, oh, these are the drums I talked to my therapist about constantly from the playoffs last year. But I mean, they're a very cool team that, they understand the real why behind we do this. It's obviously for what's going on the pitch, but it's really about the community off it. And they exemplify that really well. So, they're a team that obviously you want to hate because of all the success they had. And they had this one chant of like, we got 2 stars, we got 2 stars. And I was like, shit, that is hard.
That's good.
Like, you can't say anything back to them about that. But it was really cool. But yeah, great folks. Love that they made the journey out. I know they're having a good time like in New England and Rhode Island this week. So shout out to the Purple People crew and the Coopers.
Totally. For those of you who wonder why we keep calling this guy Handsome John, that is his Twitter handle. He's one of the hosts of the 24-hour Purple People at Louisville City podcast. We've had him on our way end a bunch of times, and just a really great dude. So definitely worth checking them out. I know the 24-hour Purple People are on Instagram too. You can check out some of their posts from last night and their time in Rhode Island as well.
If you're like, hey, I would love to listen to like what it's like when the club just wins every single week. Like, what a podcast to check out.
Must be nice. I mean, we talked to him how we did a 2-hour funeral podcast, as it's been called, after a 3-0 loss, and then next week we won a game 1-0, and it was half that. So like the true sickos of USL content creation, I guess. You mentioned it, and from going from positive to not so positive, I think was the timing of the announcement that people would not be allowed into the stadium, and that kickoff was actually delayed. From what we heard from people, there was quite a few people trying to get into the stadium. I saw some people say on kids' nights, and they had kids with them. Kids had to go to the bathroom. They already left their cars and whatnot. The communication did not really play out, I think, as well as it could have, in informing people to, hey, maybe don't make your way to the gate yet, versus we have to delay the start of the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a text that came through first that was like, everything's starting on time, no big deal, no worries for us. And then 10 minutes later, there was one that was like severe weather warning. I didn't get that text. It was just from like Twitter. I saw that one, and then very confusing. And then obviously once we got the all clear from security that we had at the tailgate, we get to the thing and there's just lines like around the block. So you could tell there was clearly a lot of people who were already at the stadium who then couldn't get in, who were trying to just find, it was like, please find shelter. And it's like, where? I'm in the middle of a parking lot in Pawtucket. Like, where am I supposed to find shelter? So yeah, really, really tough one. But luckily I think people seem to make it out okay. I didn't hear too many horror stories, but obviously it was a tough start to a pretty tough weather night.
Sure. Martin in the chat says, I took the bus and they told me to go to my car. We watched one.
I literally did the same.
Yeah, we watched one bus pull up, and it was when I'm saying buses here, the buses to M7 and the lots that take you to the stadium, and it told people that they weren't letting people in, and then pulled away empty. So like, the fact that text came through that it was going to start on time, and then I think Louisville actually tweeted out or put on their socials first that the game was going to be a delayed start versus Rhode Island. So bold strategy there, Cotton. We'll see how that one plays out in the future, but hopefully a learning experience for the club, and you got to communicate that to the fans in a more timely fashion than when they could have been at the gate to get into the stadium.
Yeah, honestly, no other notes there. It just very, very tough start to the night. But shout out to Martin. He's always on my Route 1 bus there, so I know it's tough when you're somebody with your bikes or buses, and then you're told go back to your car, and you're like, I don't have a car here. Right.
He's saying that they opened the gates at one point around 5:40, I think, too. And then Andrew Quadros, who was late, said in the chat that some parking lots weren't even letting people in. So interesting chain of events. But Martin they're just throwing the chat. The club did open a room and let us hang out in there, stay dry. That was a pretty good thing. Nice. I made the mistake of wearing Hey Dudes yesterday. My feet are still wet. That was an absolutely diabolical decision. Terrible.
Yeah, I don't know if I've fully dried off. Truly the wettest I've ever been. We've talked up the Tide Talk Anorak, and it's a lovely jacket. Does really well, but just the torrential downpour last night was a tough one for it.
It fought a valiant fight. I'd be willing to, or I want to hear from people who dropped $125 on the RIFC windbreaker that's not waterproof, and see if they were disappointed with that last night. I know I saw a couple of them sprinkled throughout the stadium. And then I saw quite a few with red ponchos over the top as well. But $125 on that type of coat, and it's not waterproof, and you wear it to the stadium, that would have been a really shitty way to find out.
Listen, it looks sick as hell, though. I have to give
it does. It's got that old school starter vibe. Yeah. We all had that Charlotte Hornets one back in the day. It's got that vibe to it. Flanny actually had a Nike one that looked very similar to it. So it was almost like they copied that design, but totally worked.
No, yeah, it's one of the better pieces of merch that the team has put out. Obviously, very, very pricey, but yeah, not the right night for it. I hope anyone who bought that gives it another run out in the fall when it's a little bit nicer, the proper weather for it.
A little breezy, maybe.
Yeah, it's a windbreaker, I mean, quite frankly.
Matt Jean looked very good in his $20 frog suit from Walmart and said it absolutely worked wonders. So if you're in need of some rain gear or would want to keep some in the car after last night's performance, of the weather, you can go pick one up at Walmart for $20. Find Matt Jean, talk to him, he'll sort you out. But
Matt Jean also debuted the Mega Train Horn last night too, which was a real treat for those of us who are train horn enthusiasts.
Yep. Let's dive into this one. We've got the starting 11 up. It was Koke Vegas making his 100th USL Championship appearance last night in net. Backline of Baccarat, Mabika, and Yao. We saw that Ibarra Harival pivot that we kind of hoped for with Sanchez and Holstead flanked on at the wingbacks. Amos Shapiro Thompson, Maxi Rodriguez, and JJ Williams rounding out the starting 11. We knew Quizera away on international duty. Corcoran also on international duty. We see Sanchez come back into the squad after the red card suspension as well. I guess based on who was available, this was kind of what I would have expected for this one, Ryan.
Yeah, likewise. Still hate that Clay is out on that right wing. Would love to see him come back in, which we got a brief glimpse of in this one. But it worked okay against Charleston last week. So, why not run it back, especially against another high-powered offense and a high-powered team. So, all a lot of like-for-like swaps, and then definitely great to see Harival back into the mix here.
Interesting one on this one. We saw pregame in the injury announcements that Chico is also out with a knock. Kano actually mentioned it when he talks about the Inago debut in his press conference clip, and we'll play that a little bit later on. But I guess looking at the bench, kind of looking at who's available, this one was pretty nailed on for what you would hope and expect to see outside of Clay again at right back.
Yep.
All right, so the first half in this one was very, I would say, uneventful to a degree outside of that goal that saw Louisville take the lead in the 18th minute by McFadden. So I guess we'll start there, and we'll take a look at that goal. Make sure I get the chat thing pulled up. Here we go.
Assists for him this season. He's just fit this Louisville system like a glove since coming over a few years ago from the now defunct RGV. McFadden scores! Whoa! What about it? Aiden McFadden finds a way through. And inside of 18 minutes, Louisville lead.
Wow, that is an amazing strike. Now, did he mean it or not? I got a sense he was trying to cross that in with power, but we talked about crosses.
That'll be the big discussion on this one.
The other advantage of doing that is they can turn into an actual shot on goal. Let's have a look at it here. Only he knows if he meant this, but I'm assuming he didn't. He just
let us know in the chat your thoughts.
Was aiming
cross
in that box and
going right, or
on the end of it in the end.
Was he intending to do this?
Right in that top corner. It's a brilliant strike, especially if he meant it. We won't know until after the game, I guess.
I'll remember Aiden.
So for me, I look at that as a cross-gun array that led to a goal. I saw some, I think, Rhode Island fans, based on what I was reading via the comments, who were saying, "Oh, that was totally a shot." I just don't see it. It gave me shades of Clint Dempsey versus Juventus when he was at Fulham, and it was like that. His was a little bit further out, but for me, it looked like there was a Lou City player making a run to the back post, and that's who I thought it was initially intended for. Quadra is saying too much power for a cross. I don't know. I'm torn on this one, but I lean cross.
I honestly thought it was a shot, and a hell of a shot at that. Like it's tough to what can you say about this goal besides it was unbelievable? Like you're not, that should win goal of the week, and you're not really going to see many like it. It's one that you'd hope Koke could get at with such an angle like that, but at the same time, like it was hit so perfectly just to somehow get over Koke's glove, get off the post and in. I mean, that's a kind of once in many seasons you're going to see that. So hats off to him if he shot it. Hats off to him if he didn't. I mean, it went in, so that's all that matters. But really hell of a goal, and a very annoying one because, again, it's the kind of one thing you can't do against like a Louisville team here is go behind.
Sure, and it's another time where we watch RIFC concede first, and when that happens with this team, the fight to get back into it is just, well, the fight's there, but the execution to get back into it, we just don't see. We've got a lot of kind of 50-50 in the chat. We're seeing cross. We're seeing I don't know. So I don't know. I'm torn on it. I think Sanchez did pretty good. He made a nice little juke to get a little bit of separation at the end there, but a little too much room in the end.
I mean, that's one if you're Kano watching it, like you're like giving that shot every day of the week. Like
sure.
Like you love it when someone shoots from like a horrific angle like that, like at the very edge of the box. So you can't really say much besides like Chepo, hats off to that guy. there.
No, totally. Outside of that, for the first half, we did witness Sanchez blow a chance that was pretty decent, and we saw Mabika get a header on a ball that came off a corner and was kind of looped back around and then chipped back into the box. Unfortunately, just straight at the keeper. But outside of that chance for Louisville, I think we had the next two best chances in that one and played pretty well overall in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing against such a high-powered offense like Louisville, I mean, holding them to 3 shots and just 1 on target, 0 big chances in the first half. We had 55% possession, they had 45. We had 184 passes to 81% accuracy. They had 139 to 74. I mean, it was pretty much like of the two teams, quite frankly, going into halftime 0-0 was probably the outcome that was most deserved here. I think Rhode Island had a couple good transition opportunities. I don't think we took the best advantage of those. There's one where I think it was Clay or Amos were trying to send one or the other up the wing, and it just didn't. They kind of fumbled that. There was the one where Sanchez slipped in the box. So I also thought we had 2 corners in the first half. I actually thought our corners on the night were much better.
They look good. They look good. And the announcers were even rooting for us on the broadcast of saying how the fans have not been treated to a Chick-fil-A corner kick yet. And they were like, well, let's get one here. Come on. Yeah. And that was exciting. The conspiracy still lives on, but
it lives on, but there was new tactics. I loved it. Shout out to Kano.
Was that the first or maybe second time Mabika's got his head on a ball off a corner for the whole season? So that was the intent was there.
Something like it. Listen, we told Kano last week to unsubscribe. If you subscribed and you listen to us say grind tape on corners, hell yeah. 2 thumbs up. Way better tactics. There were way better plays. Yeah, thumbs up. Let's see if we can get to work. Good job. I thought the corners were much better. We got some actual shots on target from a corner. Love to see it. So yeah, overall, obviously the goal sucked because it was just a wonder goal out of nothing. It felt very undeserved on the night, but overall at halftime I wasn't overly upset, besides the fact that it was from here it's a really tough uphill climb to try to get back into this one.
For sure. You mentioned some of the stats, but one stat I do want to go to for the first half was we committed 7 fouls to their 2. And the broadcast, they actually talked about the physicality of it early on. The ref let them play. There was a lot of talk and whistle blowing on before corners and stuff like that. But I think that you mentioned either last week or 2 weeks ago that last season when you played RIFC, you felt it and the physicality was there. We would follow you if we couldn't get the ball. And I think we saw a bit of that last night. I think we saw us really grinding for every play, really getting out there, throwing ourselves into challenges, taking a foul when necessary. And it was a much more physical and a much more style of gameplay that we saw last season, in my opinion. I know when we played Charleston and they had all that ball, we got the win. I think we kind of expected Louisville to give us the lion's share of the ball this week and, let us kind of do what we could against their defense. But our defense, our midfield, and everyone in help defending, I think was just absolutely phenomenal. Outside that one moment, that's why I put one-hit wonders as the RIFC in 3 last night. But I think the back line was great. The team defending was great. We were hunting in packs. We were physical. We took a foul when we needed to. And I think we're going to talk a little bit after we, kind of talk about the nothing burger that happened in the second half, kind of performance versus results. But I do think this was a positive on the night.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those games where if you didn't know what kind of where these two teams are in the standings, you would have said these are 2 teams who are pretty equal on the night. And I genuinely thought the effort was there, the intensity was there. The way we were approaching the game, we obviously, when you're playing Louisville, you have to also contend with the fact that they're the best offense in the league. So you're balancing that with your also desire to go forwards. And again, at halftime, this should have been a 0-0 game besides a kind of crazy wonder goal.
Sure. Chuck brings up a great point in the half, and we kind of half addressed it earlier. Let's be honest, when we concede a goal, most of us feel like a win is out of reach, and that's just after 1 goal. So I think there probably was a little bit of that. The weather that didn't help the fan experience on the night, as it was. Yeah,
the big halftime stat for me was how many minutes I spent trying to put my coat under a dryer in the bathroom.
Oh my goodness. My Interact was just painted onto me. It was just stuck.
The worst was
awesome.
too, you put that on and then like the undershirt, like my jersey underneath was also stuck to me. And I'm like, this is just a tough experience. I was trying to dry my leg. It just wasn't good.
Sure. And we've got some other chatter in the chat. Martin saying our best matches at home have been against the top 4 this season. And Matt Hand say, I think we perform well against the top teams, but we can't keep those performances against other teams in the league. That is totally true. It's kind of the playing up and playing down to your opponents that I think frustrates any coach absolutely beyond belief in this one. Jason said,
go for it.
Good.
No, I think our issue is like, when a team actually wants to play against us and like they also want some of the ball, like we do well in that situation because we can play. When the other team is happy to sit back and let us have the ball, we just look lost because it's like we don't like, oh, great, we have the ball, we have the thing we want, we don't know what to do to get it from the defense into the goal. And there's obviously, we've talked about that a lot this year, but it's actually the thing that's like kind of terrifying coming up because we have a stretch run coming up that is a lot of these kind of lower tier teams, and these are becoming, I know people hate this word, but must-win games for us. So it's really, we're a weird team in that way because like we'll happily contend. And we said this the other day, and I think this is why we were so upset about the Hartford result, is like, Rhode Island can stick in any single game against anybody. And that's why losing 3-0 to Hartford with the defense we've had all season is really frustrating because it's very atypical of this team so far. So, I mean, it's nice that we know we can play anybody, but unfortunately, like, you still need to get the results at this point in the season.
I think that's really well said. We got a Jason in the chat saying it could have been worse. I don't think it could have. I think that and I know last night you had the XG stat earlier today. I think outside that wonder hit, I think it was at worst this game was a 1-0 game.
Oh, sorry.
I assume Jason meant if it is the real Pawtucket J. I assume he meant
you always have to two-factor ask him at this point.
That is true. Send me that verification code, Jason. But I assume he's talking about last night could have been worse. I don't think so. I think that last night was 1-0 was kind of the ceiling, and we could have nicked one, and it could have been different.
Yeah, I agree with that. I took his it could have been worse as like hypothetically you're playing Louisville with the way we've been playing. Is it just can be worse because they are Louisville and score a shitload of goals and we don't do that this season. We've got our good friend. I completely agree with you in terms of like last night 1-0 was like unfair to us, right? Quite frankly.
Yeah, I think it was the ceiling. You put this in our group chat earlier. 12 total shots, 1 on target for each team. RI's XG was 0.7. Louisville is 0.19. So I don't know if that was 0.07 or whatever you had on that, but
0.7,
extremely
XG winners.
XG.
We don't get anything for that, but XG winners.
Spoken like a true gooner. But it is what it is. It was a 1-0. I think we played tough. I think if you had asked me before heading into these two fixtures, Charleston and Louisville, and said, like, would you take 3 points from these two? I would have said absolutely. I think I would have taken 2 points. I would have said if we draw both these games, buenísima.
I would have taken 1. I would have taken 1 point.
Fair enough.
I thought we were going to
pump
both these games. So, after Harper, when we were in the funeral mode, I really was. I think I predicted 3-0 against Charleston. If that would have happened, I would have predicted 10-0. Like I was down the dump. So yeah, to come away with 3 points out of these two is good. I mean, and then again, like look at the second half results. We held them to 1 shot on target, 1 shot total, and 0 on target. We only had 4 and 0 on target as well. So to your point, a huge nothing burger of a half. I mean, they let us just kind of have the ball, and we tried to make subs and changes, but nothing really came of it. But a game where like, unfortunately, the goals dictate games, and they kind of were like, we're happy to chill back here with our like true giant center backs, like that were just made JJ look small somehow. And
oh my God. So I know we glazed Handsome John a lot in the opening on this one, but he tweeted out a picture with their center back Josh Jones, who climbed up to the Tidewater Landing concourse, I think, just to get out of the rain at the end of the match, and John is a big dude. I believe he's 6'2", the tweet said. And Jones absolutely towered over him. And I was watching him on the pitch and thinking, like, this kid is huge. He's only 22 years old. And then, the bonus of the picture is he's towering over 6'2" John. He doesn't even have his boots on. Like, he's an absolute unit. And he moved pretty well for a big guy. I was very impressed kind of just looking at him next to Mabika. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of height on the field for this one.
Yeah, I mean, that was and he was not even just like tall, he was like wide. Like, that was a large athlete on the pitch. And, on top of like, Adams and, Louisville has a pretty damn big team. DeVille is also huge. And, a game where we didn't really have the advantage that we do over most of the teams in this league, which sucks. But again, it's a tough one because, on paper, losing 1-0 to Louisville is nothing you're going to ever be disappointed in. The performance was better than we've seen. But at the end of the day, like, results are results, and they got that first goal, and that's kind of all that matters. So,
for sure. Final stats on this one had RIFC with 57% possession to 43 for Louisville. We outshot Louisville 8-4. 1 shot on target for each team. 0 big chances for each team. 395 passes at 81% for RIFC. 262 at 72 for Louisville. We committed 16 fouls to their 9, and they had 6 corners to our 3. So, the physicality picked up on the falls in the second half with them kind of matching it a little bit. But I liked seeing that physicality. I liked what you said and, kind of seeing some improvement. And we'll kind of, shift gears to that conversation a little bit. And we'll start it off with a question from Matt Hands in the chat. Atkinson looked good as a sub. Obviously, we saw him come on and get his first start versus Hartford in Hartford, and not that same spark as the week before where he scored that goal off the bench. Do we think he can do it from the start, or do we see Busy as more of a super sub, impact sub type player?
This is a very lame answer. We just don't know enough yet. We haven't.
Sample size too small.
Yeah, we've only seen him too much. I mean, if I'll entertain the question. I think he's looked better in his very short stint as a sub so far. Sure. And I could see he's a real pest out there. Like, he fucking gets in there. Like, he grinds dudes down. He's very aggressive. And I see those qualities actually really being impactful, coming on as a sub in the second half against tired legs in the defense. But, again, we saw the one game where not a single Rhode Island FC player played well that he started in, which was the Hartford match. So we definitely don't know. It goes back to the whole thing of this season. We really don't know any of the who are the better at what this season. So
sure.
He is unfortunately lumped right into that.
Right on. Our good friend, they call me Gator. Yesterday was my birthday, and RIFC gave me the gift of not being completely pathetic and disappointing. Happy birthday, Gator. Happy belated, and I'm glad you were able to get that as well, and kind of see that. And kind of what we wanted to do for our bigger conversation of this one is talk about the result versus performance, because we are all about keeping perspective here on Tide Talk. Perspective is the big buzzword we've heard the last couple of weeks from coach, from the GM, from everyone, and we're going to continue that. We're going to continue to ride that wave. But Martin says, the good part, I saw improvement. We actually looked like we could score from the corners, like Ryan waxed poetically about earlier in this one.
Martin's a fellow gooner. He can appreciate a corner kick. So
that's it. And that is something we have not done all season. So that was a start. Very, very well said. We've also got a lot of people in the chat kind of going back to that the Busy comment and saying, I think he's more of an impactor. Andrew Quadros, it was his birthday as well. Happy you didn't get trounced. Good. Was it night? No, not yet. Is it your birthday, Andrew? Did you not tell us, you old bastard?
What the hell, man?
Come on. Damn, man. Happy birthday, Quadros. You dog.
I sat next to him the entire game, didn't say a peep. Unbelievable.
It's because he was late. He was,
He did get a pretzel, though. Absolute dog waiting in the rain for the pretzel. He got the first batch out of the oven.
I went at halftime and they were still cooking, and it was whatever. I got the nachos with the nachos with pulled pork. Let me tell you, they were actually pretty good. I think a hidden gem. And they were in the grab and go section. But happy birthday, Andrew Quadros. Sorry your Tide Talk brethren let you down. We're assholes.
Crushing the fireworks tonight. And happy birthday, Gator, as well. I do think we have to. I'm gonna summon Timmy for this one. Actually, it's a tough night to do this for Timmy with the food poisoning he's going through. But we
and the transatlantic flight he's on.
Yeah, we need to do a end of season ranking of all the food options at Tidewater. That would be a big dub for us.
If anyone else has had the pulled pork nachos in the chat, let me know. They are, like I said, I think a hidden gem. I think something I've not really heard too much talked about, and in the grab and go, so super easy to get. But we kind of started this with talking about performance versus result to give it the full perspective. Ryan, how happy are you, or maybe not happy, but are you more pleased with this performance? The way it coincided with the result than you have been in games past?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't leave the stadium like upset. Like I've left the stadium and other places and turned my TV off upset many times this season. And this one, I thought was one of our better performances of the season. Again, still not like a fantastic performance, but one of those you're like, yeah, hey, the boys fought hard against the top team in the league, the one who's potentially, I wrote this in something, I think the newsletter, that they're on pace to potentially win like the best points per game ever in this league. Like this isn't some, team who just rocked up last week to play. So, again, with all the context, it's a good performance, especially with the season we've had. But as Matt Hands correctly wrote in his Riptide report, which if you haven't read, TideTalkRI.com, we're kind of past performances mattering at this point. There are now 7 matches to go. We are in 9th place. And we're 2 points out of the playoff picture. So it's tough because those kind of pats on the back are, you talk about those early in the season and you look at those throughout the time to be like, okay, I'm we're seeing what they're doing, but now it's like we still got shut out. We didn't create any chances. We only had 1 shot on target. Like there's still issues with this performance that are the same issues we've been going with. So, definitely a better one, but not one that I'm like, okay, I feel very confident we're going to make this run to end the season here.
For sure. It was one of the keys to the match that they display in the broadcast for Louisville. Their only one was stop JJ Williams. And I think that was very evident. And you mentioned those large center backs and being able to do so. JJ was 6.1 on FOTMob, completed 9 of 12 passes on just 26 total touches. He had 3 touches in the opposition box and passed 2 times into the final third. The service was tough because a lot of the passing was backwards. We saw a lot of lateral and backwards passing. We do have a clip from Kano on that one. And I think that's why the possession numbers have been so staggering in some of these matches. But I think JJ had a few good moments with hold up that he was able to bring down and kind of settle. But I think, kind of looking at RIFC and looking if you stop Route 1 with them, if you stop JJ Williams, the other attacking options are less than ideal right now. And I look at Archie's question in the chat of what happened to Noah Fuson. Do you think he comes back strong before the season ends? I think that JJ Williams is the only attacking player kind of nailed on to start for this remaining stretch, obviously barring health and injuries and all of that. But I think that right now it's very much in the you have to prove it, you have to do something. And I think Busy getting a goal later on in a match and getting a start, the way he's come on and played, I think it's tough to take him out of that mix and get playing time. So you got to hope a player like Noah is going to go into training and kind of fight and claw it back. But I know you're probably sad at this question, being Noah's probably biggest fan in the world. But I don't know. I think Busy's going to kind of nail on that first attacking sub spot for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, part of this goes back to like we have a very unbalanced squad in a lot of ways. We also have we're playing these very strange formations. Like last night when Noah came on, he ended up playing right wing back, which was great because we saw Clay go into midfield, but like obviously not the place you really want to see Noah. So like with the formation we played last night with basically JJ and 2 attacking midfielders behind him or 2 midfielders behind him, there's not really a clear place where Noah fits into that kind of mix. So he's kind of square peg, round hole, odd man out right now. And
I think a part of that, sorry to cut you off, but I think, we would all love to see Clay Holstad in the midfield and, maybe Noah could solidify that right wing back spot. But I think that's extremely harsh to Amos Shapiro-Thompson, the way that he's played this season, to take him out. So it's like, how do you balance all of this with not having that true right back and, that Stephen Turnbull of last year, like a nailed on starter, and kind of square peg round hole and hope something works.
Yeah, and then like Frank's coming back soon, and it's like, what's going to happen there? Is Frank going to be on the wing again? Because that's always a fun picture. And yeah, it all just goes back to kind of this whole season's been a bit messy in that way, and we haven't really figured out any sort of coherent way of playing, which then makes it hard for these players to really nail down spots in the lineup. So yeah, to Noah, I mean, I think Noah had an interesting cameo. Last night he had a couple frustrating moments, but he also had a couple of good moments going forward. His crossing wasn't his best. He definitely was either hitting the first man or kind of just missing his target, but I did appreciate the intent to try to get in the box. But overall, definitely a player I think who thrives on confidence and kind of, we saw that at the end of last season. Like once he's got going, he was going, and he, turned basically like a player who was on the bench in the middle of the season into being the golden playmaker and the guy who was scoring in the Eastern Conference semifinals and playing really well for us. So yeah, all in all, do I think he's going to all of a sudden magically turn around? No, but I also don't know that he's going to have the opportunity to do that, because I think he's going to need a bit of consistent playing time and confidence, and he needs to get a little hot. And right now, I don't know that anyone is particularly confident on the offensive end.
That's pretty well said. Matt Hand says, my guy Frank is the answer, talking about the right spot. I love Archie's take on this one. Agreed. At this point, I'd damn near throw Hugo in the attack the way he's cooking. Seriously, though, the way he gets upfield as a defender is really something special. We know how much Connell loves Grant Stoneman. We saw him again last night. Would you sacrifice the cohesiveness that this current back three has to start Grant Stoneman in it to put Hugo Baccarat out on the right side? That's I think, $1 million question.
Let me make sure I'm close on the mic. Fuck no. No,
even the way Hugo gets forward.
But I think he's getting forward from center back. Like you can't contain Hugo. You can only try to. Like the man will get forward whether you like it or not. We thought Frank was having fun getting forward. Hugo gets busy. We actually didn't talk about his performance.
Man of the match, and he was the FOTMOB man of the match. He was the highest rated player on either team.
Listen, that he is one of the more fun players I've watched play in a long time, because I just like that. Like anytime the ball comes into him, if he can take that one touch to like open up his legs and get moving, like that guy who's pressing him is getting absolutely cooked immediately. Mm-hmm. He's taking one step by him, and then who knows what's going to happen. And quite frankly, for a season that we have not seen a lot of goals or excitement happen, he is a human highlight reel in quotes, because the man is just doing stuff. And I will take that all day at this point, because sprinkling a little chaos is necessary at this point.
So you wouldn't like to see that with a little bit more forward freedom at right wing back versus center back?
Well, I mean,
what
I'd like to see formation wise, like I would love to see him play right back in a back four with Sanchez at left back and then Yao Mabika in the middle. Like I would like to
talk dirty to me.
Yeah, like kind of the role that Rio was playing earlier this year.
I think if we saw a 4-4-2 with that back four, I think things could get really hot and spicy.
Like imagine, you go bopping into the mid, because the thing that Kano was playing, he was playing that like inverted fullback role. We saw Sanchez doing it a bit. Imagine Hugo inverting into the midfield. Like
wild.
This could get wild. I might make a Football Manager save tonight just to play this out in my little fantasies, because boy oh boy would it be fun. It would be really fun.
Like Matt Jean said, shout out to the Junior Defiance members on Kids Night for giving him man of the match. I asked Zach, I go, what did Hugo say to you when you gave him the paddle? And he said thanks. I was like, all right, man, a few words. I was
like, look at this guy go.
Oh, good stuff. I recorded it because Henry Hands was drumming the entire time during the presentation to his little heart's content. It's one of the greatest videos. If you're in the Defiance 1636 Discord and you click the Junior Defiance tab, go watch the video that I shared on that. It's just Henry is intently watching Flanny. But he's drumming the whole time while doing it. It is one of the most heartwarming things you can see. It's such a great video.
Before the game, he was telling me how much he's excited to like play with La Banda and stuff. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Again, this goes back to like before the match with Cooper's like doing the drum off, and then you got like little kids being like, "I'm excited to play with the band tonight." Like that. This is what it's about, folks.
I totally agree with you. A tale of two nights for kids, though. Henry was at on the field drumming. Graham was asleep on Kelly, I think, in the 60th minute in the top concourse. That was a fun carry to the bus. But big shout out to Ripta for running those buses and getting people back to their cars quick and dry on the night. That was definitely worth a blast. And we do have.
We never talked about the halftime show.
Oh, the 100 kids on 3 pros. the YouTube sensation. We needed like a bear out there to make things, I think, interesting.
I thought it was so fun. We were me and Kev and like Andrew were screaming at Jackson Lee to get involved. He was cracking up. Like the whole thing was. I found it very entertaining. Those kids were doing knee slides into the corner every single time. It was awesome. So that was very fun. When they kept saying there's gonna be something that's never been done in North America, which is always a funny framing because you're like, okay, what has happened in other parts of the world that you can't say worldwide? That was very fun. Again, yeah, putting a bear out there maybe has happened in other places, but would have also been funny. But yeah, genuinely a very entertaining halftime show, especially with how just shitty the weather was.
Oh, very good.
People were just doing the shit out of those like 3, I think they were college kids that were playing. It was so funny.
It was good. FQB says, I spent a ton of time with the young fisherman, Henry. Great night for him. I thought he was Paddington with the raincoat. That's what I liked. But a great night. There were a lot of kids there despite the weather. Kids don't care about the rain, so they had a ton of fun as well. But I'm also seeing in the chat a couple people, I never take the bus back, but I did this time. So again, big shout out to Ripta. Martin says they need more number 1 buses. I had to get an Uber after the game. So
I walked home.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh man, no bueno. But 100 versus 3 pros was brilliant fun. Kind of getting back.
We never went to Kano's videos.
Yeah, kind of getting back to that. We will go to Kano's video from the press conference, and this is where he's kind of talking about scoring more and the backwards passing mentality that we kind of have as a team right now.
Probably need to shoot more. We have that much of the ball, and sometimes. When opponents in a low block like that, yeah.
I'm going to pause it there because we referenced this last week, but the Belichickian grunt at the beginning of each one of these videos is just absolutely kills me. I will also get to one of his first points. Somebody said in their RIFC and 3 or good, bad, and the ugly about why doesn't this team take more long distance shots? Like it is a very, very much a theme we've talked about, I think, since day one of RIFC Nation on here.
You have to shoot more from outside of the box to draw them out. But I felt it was opportunities in the first half, especially when we could play forward and we're just playing backwards. And then they smell blood in the water and we're just starting to press us, So, yeah, we want to keep the ball, but we say to them all the time, if the back line is high, play the ball in behind. Like, don't play backwards. Koke is not going to score for us. So the less he touches the ball at times, the better. Like, going back to him, it's not what we're trying to do.
So I absolutely love the Koke not going to score goals for us quote. As much as in the last couple of weeks we've kind of criticized some of the things that Kano has said and the way he's approached some things, I do like this clip from last night's press conference. And it's something. If he's directing them to pass over the top and get it in over the back line, we've seen few to very little attempts of that all season long. So the fact that it's being addressed now, I know kind of one of your ways you wanted the conversation to go today was is it too little too late? Like, is this too little too late? Or can we see some change that could help us cement into that playoff picture?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying this to Kevin last night while we were watching the game, like there were many moments that you could tell Kano was not happy that they went backwards. There was one particular that Noah at right wing back had it, he got it, and he could have easily went forward, and there was numbers for it, and he went backwards and said it, and Kano lost his mind. And I was saying to Kevin, I don't think he wants them to be doing it to the level that is currently happening. And to his point about going over the top, we did call that out with the Charleston game, where they actually were going long a bit more and trying to hit JJ in behind and other people in behind, and it worked. It really stretched out the Charleston team. So all spot on from Kano. I mean, it's just tough because he's saying we tell them all the time, but we're not seeing it a ton, and that's a tough part of coaching. But again, at least they're seeing it. That makes me feel good that they're like him, the coaching staff are all seeing that, and it's something they're trying to work on. So again, the kind of pivotal, the next 7 or 8 or 9 games, if we do well in the cup, Like those are that's kind of it at this point. Like that's all we have left. So if they can pull it together and, again, get into the playoffs, then anything can happen from there. Like great. But again, points are at a premium right now. So we got to start seeing it. But I do like that he's acknowledging some of the faults of the style of play so far this season.
For sure. To Martin's point in the chat, so who is telling them to pass backwards?
I
don't know that. Well, mine is, I don't think it is a direct instruction, but I think it goes back to his press conference after the last match of when we beat Charleston of we want to have the ball more. So I know coach wants me to have the ball more, and I don't see anyone making a run or anyone to play the ball over the top to, I'm going to pass back to recycle it, hope people move, set up a triangle. But that doesn't happen either, so we end up going all the way back to Koke so many times.
Yeah, I think pretty much what you said. I think it was a directive at the beginning of the season of like we want to play with possession. Like if you don't see something go back, like recycle the ball. Again, very like fine. Like that can work. It does work. The problem is you do have to intersperse risk and like directness into the mix to keep a balance there between the ultra conservative and then the offensive attack.
I think that goes back to something we talked about last week, though. Like you don't see this team ever really switch the pitch and then, to his point today, pass in over the top or puts players on the run outside of Busy when he's out there, and that's usually on a 20-minute cameo, if that.
Yeah, so I think it's just one of those things that like got in their ear at training camp, and then quite frankly, one of the other things that's been tough this season is like if you're a player like. I don't know that they've been rewarded for taking risk. Like the part of like telling people you need to fail to succeed or you like all this kind of things is like you then have to kind of reward them for that. You can't then pull them out of the lineup. And so far this season, like there's really not been a ton of people who, besides maybe the back line, that have really cemented their place in the roster. So it's like, well, if I don't pass, if I lose possession right now, I might lose my spot in the starting lineup. So you kind of have those doubts versus rewarding the person who's really out there trying to take that risk, trying to cross the ball, trying to do things that maybe it doesn't pan out this game. But it's the right intention. You have to reward them. So I think that's the other side of this is like, do people feel that they can take the risk? Because right now we have like 8 guys in street clothes every game. So it's like,
true.
Number one, like I could be on the bench. Number two, I could be Rio Hopegun and I'm banished to the nether realm after putting up 7 or 8 out of 10s every week.
I'm glad you brought him up. He is currently our 6th highest rated player on FOTMob for the season. And I do not think we see him again, which is unbelievable. Like it's the rotation, the changing. I don't even call it rotation. I guess the changing that we've seen going on is I think really hampered the style. I like what Matt Hand said in the chat. I think trying to teach guys who probably never play the style is tough. These guys aren't used to passing out from the back and knowing when to go forward and when to be in a safe in possession is a challenge for people. I think we have Pep Guardiola to blame for that, and everyone wants to try to mimic playing out of the back like that. But I mean,
quite frankly, like we are literally playing like PSG, like so we're doing tactics from PSG, like we're
kicking the ball out of bounds off kickoff.
Yeah,
so
that's the PSG kickoff, which is very hot in the streets right now. Like everyone's doing it. Like, and we're trying to play a style. It's called Juego de Posición. It's a Spanish style of play where like if Arteta plays it, Man City plays it. Like it's that style where like you're trying to keep a lot of possession. People are interspersing and like moving as a unit. And it's like very rigid style and can be very annoying. And it's also very complicated. So
especially if you're not scoring goals.
Yeah, it's really hard. And it's like one of those things that's like, yes, it's good at controlling the other team. But the other side of it is like it takes a lot to figure out the other side of it that kind of was talking about of like, when is the go forward moment? When is that like unlock? And it's a lot to take in. And again, especially if you're not playing a consistent lineup and a consistent formation, it's a lot of like players needing to feel each other's spots. The whole thing is about positional play. So if one person's here, like someone has to be here, and it's really complicated. It works well if it works, but like it might be too much. I don't know. It's also hard to coach. Very hard to coach.
Little tidbit there too on the Rio stuff. He's also a top 5 player in the Player of the Year conversations and nominations that the Defiance 1636 has. And I'll just throw it out there that the Player of the Season 1636 Defiance nominations are now live until the 20th. So you have time to cast your ballot. You should have gotten an email if you're a Defiance 1636 member. If you're not, now is a great time to join. If you didn't get an email, reach out to Matt G and he'll sort you. He'll put all more work on Matt G, and he's going to get you a frog suit and get you sorted with your player of the season nominations as well. But I totally agree with you. I know it was said in the chat, and I think Martin hits it on the head here. You need the right players in the right position for that. So far, we don't have that. We've said square peg, round holes so many times that I think you have to lube it up to make it work next time. But we just have so many people that are in and out and not going into not in their proper positions, and I don't think we have the right people in the right positions to make all that work.
I mean, we don't have a right any back. We don't have a right fullback or a right wing back at this point. Like again, the fact that Clay Holstad is having to play right wing back is a complete and utter failure of squad building. You have one of the best center midfielders in the league who's running the touchline. And the funniest part is every time he drifts inside, he looks awesome. So
True. Like
it's like very funny. It's
our thumbnail for tonight was a really good rip from him in the middle that he drifted inside off of.
He drifts inside every once in a while, and I go, "What a treat!" There was actually 4 minutes of this game where Clay and Maxey were double pivot in the midfield. It made me the happiest I've been in a long time.
I'm totally with you. Do you think this whole Kano talking about taking more shots and all of that is like he went out to a restaurant like Ted Lasso did, and like this is his total football moment?
I hope so. That'd be good.
I mean, it's better than the Coach Baird mescaline trip, but
they work for them. So yeah, I mean, whatever. Again, we're at the point where anything works, Coach. If you gotta go shoot darts at fucking what's the place off the highway, Snookers or whatever, like you gotta go. I don't know.
Well, I think we have to find the equivalent, because it was Ted Lasso at an American like burger joint in the UK. So, I don't know if we have any Bermuda type restaurants closest here in Rhode Island. So I don't know if there's any easier connection. Maybe Dwayne Atkinson can go to Job Patty and just start firing on all cylinders, and which they have really good Jamaican patty spot. I don't know. Maybe we can figure it out. I don't know. But we need some goals. We need some goals. That is the definite piece to that. So we'll switch gears a little bit. We'll head on over to the Defiance 1636 Discord and take a look at what you wrote after the match on this one. And I gave the option for good, better, best, good, bad, and the ugly for this. So Chelsea had RIFC in 3, hate severe thunderstorms. I think that would definitely be echoed by a lot of people in here. Our good friend Taris had RFC in 3, another disappointing result. Good, we mostly shut Louisville down, except for that lucky weird angle shot. I'm still not calling it a shot. I'm not there yet. Bad, it seems like we're allergic to the right side of the field. Ryan, do you think that's because we don't have a right wing back or a proper right back playing out there?
Yeah, it can't hurt. It also helps that Hugo is just dominating on the left. So just
true. Ugly, we have a mental block when it comes to putting the ball in the net. That might certainly be true. Leo's good was best team.
That's actually a really good idea. What if the whole team went to a hypnotist?
I think those you just kind of end up like taking your clothes off on stage, and it's just weird, awkward.
It's worth the shot, guys.
Yeah, Frank Santos, right? He's the big local guy.
Yeah, he must. I remember someone did it at my high school, like junior prom.
Yeah, that was probably that dude. Yeah. Leo's good is best team in the league, needing a miracle goal to beat us. Bad, hesitancy in pushing forward with pace killed multiple good transition opportunities that could have tied the game up. Ugly, becoming completely one-sided by the end of the game, avoiding playing to the last season's golden playmaker. RFC in 3, maybe for the season while I'm at it. Dropped points, downpour. Scott from across the pond had good. Defense seemed competent. Louisville didn't get more than that one lucky chance. Bad, still backwards passing. More backwards passing than I want to see, but improving. Ugly, so many crosses hitting the first man. You referenced that a little bit earlier, Ryan. Natesky's RAFC in 3 was the wet streak ends. We were on a undefeated run when it rained, so that did come to an end. His good was the defense. His bad was not enough forward passing. His ugly was not enough support on runs. Had to wait for the cavalry solo drives, either wide or middle. And then his good was the rain. His better was the defiance, and his best was fan participation on the lights in the stadium, like the old school concert vibes, and putting your flashlight on there. Irvin was very much yelling for that one, and I think it looked pretty cool. You saw it kind of trickle out throughout the stadium. Clark's RIFC in 3 was give me goals. Bonus word, please. His good was the energy in the stadium, even with the rain. Also, the kids club tent having a stash of rally towels for kids who didn't get one walking in. Bad, my mood leaving the stadium. Ugly, been to 7 USL Championship matches at CBS, and RIFC has been shut out in all of them. We may have found the problem. It might just be Clark. Sorry, Clark.
I don't want to ban you from the stadium, but maybe take a week off. Let's see what happens.
I mean, I will also say, Ryan, you were not there last match, and you were there last night. So,
well, listen, there's another guy who I'm gonna blame first. We'll see what happens when he comes back from Portugal.
Pot calling the kettle black. How dare you rip on Timmy while he suffers from food poisoning? Probably I don't know. He might have like incurred his own and just, let it up. But on Twitter, the ghost of FQB had play for cup for his RFC in 3. Good. Got to see Clay and Maxi double pivot for like 6 minutes. Ryan's happiest 6 minutes of the match.
I was sitting there yelling down the row, Andrew, it's happening.
His bad was the stupid power tripping security guard that works the section below 205.
Can I fill this in?
Can you count? Yeah, can you? I feel like we need to read in for this one.
I don't think I've ever seen Kevin on better behavior at a match. Like the quietest he's ever been. Shirt on. He wanted to take it off. To be clear, he wanted to take it off. He was just, I need a goal to happen. Obviously, it doesn't happen. Very just calm the whole time. Well, the guy down the road was giving it large, like fine, loved it. 205 is fine. 205 lives with that kind of stuff. Kevin, all of a sudden, the ref made a horrible call. The ref he had a tough night at points. And he just said your mother would be disappointed in you. This security guard comes up and he's screaming up there, hey, knock it off. Screaming. It was just like the weirdest thing. Like came out of nowhere. And he started trying to he was like, I'm going to kick you out. He never kicked him out. It was a very weird time.
For what?
For that, I was like, everyone was like, there's no profanity, there's no nothing. Like, of all the things Kevin has said this season, you can't kick him out for that.
Andrew Quadros coming in with some heat. Yeah. That security guy was a punk. Gave Kevin a hard time for the most innocuous comments. Insane. For Quadros to call somebody a punk tells me all I need to know.
The real person who had some real banter on this was Papa Quadros. Papa Quadros was not happy with that security guard. I'll tell you that much.
Papa Quadros, hopefully he hit him with an Azuzush. Like there had to have been a Azuzush in there. Like totally. Jason says, oh God, I would never last in any other section. Sarah said, I wish someone would try. Matt Hands, I think, kind of puts the cherry on top. Kevin has said much worse. So it's all good. Again, Kevin responded, I told him to call Paul Burns.
He did. It was very funny.
Good stuff. And Andrew confirms Papa Quadros was big mad. So thank you for that.
Quadros was a real hero tonight. Like had a lot of quiet but very funny zings on the night. So shout out to Papa Quadros.
Papa Q's the man. He totally is the man. Getting back into FQB's takes on Twitter, ugly, the team's failure of the weather announcement and no selling ponchos at the team store. We addressed the weather announcement earlier, and kind of Louisville saying the game was postponed for us, I think was another kind of weird look on the optics of it all. The poncho piece, I think, is a very interesting point, because when you watch the broadcast, if you think to your local Walmart or wherever you go, Coleman, the little ponchos that come in the bag like this, all folded up and all that, what color are they always?
I have no idea.
Oh, they're always red. They are always red. And if you watch the broadcast, there is a ton of red sprinkled in the stadium with, two teams not playing in red. For not having a waterproof jacket in the team store, throwing out a poncho in Bay Blue would have done absolute wonders. Stamp that nice RI anchor on the front, dirt cheap, and you can make a pretty good profit off of it. Pretty easy thing to add to the store.
Ideas, but just literally having the trash bag version of a poncho available is a money printing machine when your fans cannot do anything else. So it's another just one of those little small details of maybe someone go run the job lot before the game, sell them for a $4 markup, because the best thing for supply is scarcity. So we all needed them, and there was no one selling them. So tough one.
for sure. But I do think that the poncho piece is an interesting little caveat as well. Last on Twitter was Tyler Hatch with his RFC in 3. Expected nothing less. His good set pieces finally finding the heads of our center backs. Bad attacking midfielders having to drop deep to get on the ball and leaving gaping holes in the center of the pitch. Ugly passing backwards and across the back line while under no pressure. A very common theme to this season, unfortunately. And then we'll head to our RIFC Nation group on Facebook. David McHugh Solera's good was I didn't watch the game. His better was I was hosting a party during this game time. And best, I was hammered. Good for you, David. Good stuff there. Is RFC in 3. We lost again. You're nothing special. We lost again. Mike Baisley said nobody beats that team. And I forget who. I think it might have been Tyler's or somebody else's in the comments saying how they left disappointed. I didn't. I thought we played well. I thought we were playing with house money, having beat Charleston. I didn't really hate the performance, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of people who are like really upset about this one, and I'm struggling with that.
I was so upset after Hartford home and Hartford away, but like last night, like played well. Weather, just I thought we very easily could have left with a point, but didn't hate the performance.
Yeah, but hey, you're allowed to feel how you feel. We've literally said that a few episodes ago too. So have at it.
Speaking of that, Twitter is most commonly known, I think, as the toxic football takes, but Rhode Island FC Nation Facebook group got very toxic today. Post was since taken down by original poster, not even team admin over here, but people calling out Aldair Sanchez as not being a good signing, and I absolutely had to go Jon Snow walking into Battle of the Bastards with my sword on that one and being like, Aldair leads the team in big chances created. He leads the team in assists. He is only 22 years old. To criticize him with all the holes, all of the different problems we have as a new signing, when a player like Denny Rivera, who we found out existed for 9 minutes the whole season, I think it just absolutely wild, blows my mind. The streets will not forget this moment, and I will stand there and go on my Aldair hill as long as I can.
Yeah, I mean, beyond I completely agree. I think Aldair has been a very good signing, and
I think he's potentially a player of the season conversation piece. I think he should be in that conversation. I think if you look at like top 5, he's got to be right there or close to it. His availability has been great. Like he's on the pitch, and he's, like I said, 22 years old with USL Championship experience. So he's gonna keep getting better.
Yeah, no, I think great signing. I think he's performed well. I also struggle with there's a lot of like very strong takes about individuals on this team at this point, and I don't understand how you can be like with the way this season has gone in like.
He is also top 5. Great.
Yeah, good. I love these little nuggets we're getting from Matt G in the chat. But yeah, it's just like, because I know people have heard me talk about this a lot. There's like some people who are very like, Maxi's not been good. Like there's a lot of like very specific takes about specific players. I'm like, the whole system has been bad. There isn't it's not like there's a lot of players you can be like, that guy was good. Like the leading person you hear a lot of people talking about for player of the season, and I mean this as zero disrespect to Amos, but like people like Amos because he's trying really hard. And like that's the kind of season we're having right now. Is
that's what we're up against.
The guy most people are like very much as the player of the season, and I'm not. I will probably he's in my consideration set. I'm not ready to reveal my thoughts on player of the season, basically because I don't know who it is, and I hope someone emerges.
I think Martin brought up a good point. Like give it 2 more matches until the deadline, and see if something sways you.
But again, it's like the number 1 guy right now, and most people are using it. The reason why is because he's just trying, and it's like yikes.
Yeah, Santiago wants to know what's up with Rivera. Why doesn't he get minutes? I don't know. I think him and Turnbull were announced so quickly in succession. We all kind of assumed he was going to be the Turnbull replacement, and came in with an injury, it seemed, and went out there.
We have Amos Shapiro-Thompson and Clay Holstead. Very good right wing.
Yeah, just odd stuff. But
I want to be clear, they've been doing their fucking best out there. I want to always be clear with that. They both put in shifts. They both.
I'm not faulting them. I'm not faulting
never
them.
will. I always want to make that so abundantly clear.
But Andrew answers that question with he stinks.
We don't know.
Got a few more takes on Facebook, and then we'll kind of wrap this one up. But Chris Nell said no effing attack as is RFC in 3, and then in parentheses underneath has yet again. Ron Sprague has yeesh, yikes, come on. Santiago, who we just referenced in the chat, his good was defense, bad losing at home, ugly transition to attack is so slow. No good counterattacks. The team was more dangerous when Atkinson came in. Totally agree with that. So thank you to everyone who wrote in. Again, look out after each match on all of our socials at Tide Talk RI and even on the Defiant 1636 Discord in our Tide Talk channel where we post post-match stuff, looking for your feedback to kind of get in there. But an absolute killer was just dropped in the chat by Matt Jean, having a banner night tonight. Like, he must have wrapped himself dry in pretzels last night. Rivero, unfortunately, not in the top 5, but still has time to get there.
Listen, if he scores a hat trick in one of the next 2 games, like, I will vote for him. I promise you that. I have no idea who I'm voting for.
You will not vote for him. You will nominate him. This is not a voting process. This is a nomination process.
Wait, what? Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'll make a video. I made a Clay Holstead video last year. Who knows how well that worked that he won. So maybe I will make a Danny Rivera highlight video if Danny Rivera scores a hat trick.
Nate says, awesome show, guys. Keep going. I think we're getting off the rails here. Talking of Danny Rivera hat tricks. No disrespect to Danny, we just haven't seen it.
Seems like a very nice guy.
Very nice. Talked to him multiple times. But I do like Martin's point. Whoever scores against Indy gets bonus points. That is the definition of a must-win game. That is a playoff hunt 6-pointer. That's the one we got to get to. But before we even really dive in and kind of look at that and look about talking like that, we've got a really big one coming up. Just 3 days. Wednesday night at Tidewater Landing versus Sacramento Republic in the USL Jaeger Cup semifinal. We're going to be live again at High Motor for round 2 at 5:30 p.m. ahead of this one. So you'll get to watch Ryan and I awkwardly shoot some Jaeger and probably crack a can of High Life on camera. Matt and Jason from Raising Anchor will be joining us for that one. We're calling it the Rising Tide Collab. That room was pretty packed last time, so make sure you get there, get some good food. They promised on their Instagram story that they're going to have ticket times fixed. I guess somebody called out last time.
We heard some tough behind-the-scenes stuff that happened. Shout out to High Motor for even getting food out the door with what happened last time.
I can say that they're so excited to have us back. They canceled the Paint and Vino night and moved it to another night to bring us back into that back room. So they're pretty excited.
Still absolutely devastated.
Yeah, he was signed up. Matt Hands really wanted to go and do some Paint and Vino before the game. I don't know if he was working on a birthday gift for Sarah or whatever it was, but unfortunately, he'll have to probably go to Dollar Tree, pick up some paints, and go from there.
But if you are still interested in the Paint and Vino night, please reach out to High Motor. They are still having it. They moved it. Shout out to those guys. They've been awesome to work with. So good stuff, good food. It'll definitely be a feud time. And Cole Dewhurst is actually coming in some nominations. So there's a chance for every player. But make sure make your voice heard. You can nominate whoever you want. It has to be a player. You can't nominate Chip, but you can nominate absolutely anybody.
Mm-hmm. Again, if you plan on going to High Motor, which again is the collab show and it's also the Defiant 1636 tailgate, so you can walk right from High Motor to the match. Nice short walk if there is any weather or whatnot. But it was a really cool experience. The back room where we'll be set up, there's the bar and there's kind of like a hallway in between, and it was absolutely packed. It was a good experience. If you want to sit and listen to the show, I'd say get there early. Space is pretty limited, and then you can kind of get food and drinks beforehand. But the staff was great. They've got a really good tap menu. They've got a really good food menu, and I think it'll be a really good time. Kind of preparing for that one.
There is a front bar that is plenty of seats, and you wouldn't be able to hear us from there. So definitely get some food, and then you can march with Defiance, but still support High Motor and Defiance.
We'll also say that we have some different segments planned. So if you came to the last one and are saying like, I don't know if I want to check it out, it will be different. We will try to keep that same level of fan involvement. So if you are sitting in the back room, I will prep you with, be ready to participate, be ready to yell out some random shit. And we could definitely go for there. I bet Kerwin would pose for a nude. He's got that spirit. I don't even know what that means, Gator, but
from paint night.
Oh, for paint night. Hell yeah. I'll stand there with a bottle of Jaeger over. It was like, remember the Dennis Rodman one from back in the day?
I sure do. Yeah.
As I'm showing The Last Dance right now and got to see that again. But I don't think anyone would want to paint that. Thank you, Gator. Happy birthday, man. All right. Ryan, any final thoughts you have? Anything I missed? I just got to hold up our trophy for that one. That thumbs up. If you're still here, hit that thumbs up button.
Definitely please thumbs up if you're still here. Subscribe if you're new. An interesting game to talk about. It's one that not a lot happened. It's a game that both showed some progress, but also showed a lot of the same issues that we have seen throughout the season. And yeah, it's really going to come down to number one, the semifinal match. I'm going to stop looking at the screen so I can talk.
Turn the chat off.
Match, yeah, turn the chat off. The semifinal match against Sacramento on Wednesday, and then the Indy match next Saturday is huge. So two massive games this week for Rhode Island FC. Indy is the team ahead of us in 8th place. Honestly, hilarious. I was looking at the table earlier. Indy has scored 36 goals and given up 42. We've scored 16 and given up 24. Just genuinely like wildly two different seasons we're having in different ways. Like I understand why Betts is like losing his fucking mind. Betts is the Indy commentator that we work with sometimes for the preview shows. So yeah. So of this, I mean, quite frankly, a pivotal moment in the season, and just in time to get your player of the season nominations in. So absolutely love it. Happy birthday, Quadros and Gator. We need to turn this stream off because the chat is losing its mind. And boy, oh boy, do we love you all.
Happy birthday, Quadros. Happy birthday, Gator. Thanks for everyone who tuned in. Hopefully we'll see you guys Wednesday night. They have Jaeger at High Motor. That's also
really terrible thing to confirm.
I'm looking forward to the college opening again. Totally good. But that'll wrap things up for this one. Remember, Tide Talk is more than just a podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for daily social media content. Click that link in this episode description to follow all of our accounts and interact with our post-match stuff so we can share your thoughts here on air. I've been your host, Matt, for my good friend Ryan. Thanks again for joining. We'll see you next time. And as always, up the tide.
Up the tide.